Today, we are going to read a post-romantic poem, Dover Beach, written by Mathew Arnold. See here the image of the poet. He was born on 24th December 1822. He passed away on 15th April 1888. He was a Victorian poet, writer, critic, and thinker. There are so many works written by him. The famous poem which is under consideration, The Dover Witch, was written in 1861. Culture and Anarchy came in 1869. Saur and Rustam appeared in 1853. There are other poems, The Scholar Gypsy and Thyrsis. Now, here is the image of the beach, Dover Beach. See, the white cliffs are here. It is situated between the French coast and the England coast, and the poet happens to reach there, and he describes the beauty of that Dover beach. In what manner the sun shines, and the poet describes that beauty in his poem. The poem begins, the first stanza of the poem is like that. The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair. Upon the straits on the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stands, glimmering and vast, out in the tranquil bay. Come to the window, sweet is the night here, only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land. This poem is a dramatic monologue. The poet describes the solitude at the surface of the sea and say that there is a perfect silence on the surface of the sea. And on the other hand, the poet says the moon lies fair, the moon looks beautiful, and the tide is in full swing. See in what manner the poet describes the beauty of the nature. He said upon these straits, see in what manner the poet describes the light of the moon on the cliffs on the straits of the England coast. Then the poet describes the shifting of the light on the French coast. The light gleams and is gone. Sometimes the light appears on the French coast, then it appears it has gone. And sometimes it appears the cliffs of England stand, sometimes the light of the moon shifts to the cliffs of the England, and the poet describes the shifting of the light of the moon from the French coast to the England cliffs. It is seen, it is shining. The sea is vast, the sea is glimmering out in the tranquil bay, in this peaceful bay. Then the poet invites his wife, come to the window, and they said, the sweet is the night here. The atmosphere of at the night time is sweet, pleasing. See, in what way the poet describes the present situation of the sea. And the poet invites his beloved, the poet invites his wife to see the beauty of the night. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land. The poet happens to see the coming of the waves of the sea from to that place and that place. And the poet also happens to see the land where the light of the moon was falling, where the piece of the land was taking bath in the light of the moon-blanched land, the land that has taken bath in the light of the moon. And the poet described that scene in what manner the waves were coming. It appears that they are spraying at the coast. And the poet also described in what manner the water of the sea meets at the land that has taken bath in the light of the moon. See, the speaker looks out upon a calm sea and observes the fullness of the tide and the moon reflecting on the water. Looking across the channel, the speaker sees the light of the French coast. It fades away, while the cliffs of the England coast stand tall and bright. The bay seems peaceful, calm. Suddenly, the speaker addresses his wife, someone, and implores this person to come and look at what the speaker is looking at to enjoy the beauty of the night to enjoy the pleasant air of that time. The speaker senses something is not quite right and describe the spray where the water meets the moonlit land. The second stanza of the poem, in what manner the poet invites his beloved wife to hear. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves throw back and fling at their return up the high strand, being and cease, then again begin with tremulous cadence slow and bring the internal note of sadness in. When the poet invites his wife to hear the coming and going of the waves and the roar of the pebbles, when the waves come, they bring the pebbles with them and they make the grating sound. That's why the poet invites his beloved wife to hear, to listen in what manner the pebbles are making the grating noise when the waves come and go. At the return up the high strand, begin and cease. Sometime it appears the rover is the rover is started. Sometime it appears that it is going to end. With tremulous cadence slow and bring the eternal note of sadness in. In the coming and going of the pebbles and the spraying of the waves, the poet notices, the poet hears that there is some note of sadness that is eternal, that is permanent. The poet hears the eternal note of sadness in the coming and going of the pebbles and the grating roars of the pebbles. The speaker instructs the other person to listen to the sound of the pebbles and the waves shift back and forth upon the beach and down again. The speaker notes the slow repeating action of the waves coming and going, and identifies and finds it with the eternal note of sadness, the eternal sadness of mankind. This third stanza, Sophocles long ago had it on the Aegean, it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of the human misery. We find also in the sound a thought hearing by the distant northern sea. Now the poet goes to the past. He takes the example of Sophocles, the 5th century BC writers. When he was standing on the Mediterranean Sea, he took inspiration to write about the human misery. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb flow of human misery, the sadness of the human life. He described in his plays about the unhappy condition of the human life, and find also its sound thought hearing by distant northern sea. And Sophocles heard this wave and he heard the sound of misery, and that's why he started to write tragedies. All of a sudden, the speaker thinks about the ancient Greek playwright Sophocles, the 5th century BC writer. Imagines Sophocles hearing the same sadness in the Aegean Sea as the speaker hears now on the English coast. Sophocles, in the mind of the speaker, likens the sad sound of the waves to the general sorrow of humanity, which moves like the waves. The speaker then notices another thought that comes with the sound of the sea. The 4th stanza, the sea of faith was once to at the full and round earth's shore. They like the folds of bright girdle pearl, but only here its melancholy long withdrawing rover, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast is dearer and naked singles of the world. You see in what manner here the poet compares the present with the past. The present and past are put together. The poet recalls the past when the sea of faith was full. People were living happily. People have faith with each other. People have love for each other. People have certainty for each other. And this faith, the atmosphere of faith, was just like a girdle, just like a belt around the world, around the earth's soul. And the people were confident. There was an atmosphere of faith and love. That's why the sea of faith was once too at the full. From our soul, they like the folds of bright girdle world, but as the poet returns to the present and finds, I only hear its melancholy. Now poet hears only the sound of melancholy, the sound of sorrow, long withdrawing rover in the rover of the pebbles, retreating to a breath of the night wind, down the vast is dearer and naked singles of the world, and finds that the people of the world are naked. People of the world are without faith. People are without love. That's why the poet says that the modern people are this like the naked singles. They are without love and feeling for each other. The speaker described the religious faith as the sea that was full like the tide. At that time, it reached round the earth like a girdle, like a belt. Now, to the speaker, just hear the sea's sad retreat. As the sea of faith becomes smaller, it appears into the atmosphere and leaves the age of the world naked. People are naked. People are without love, faith, and confidence with each other. There is a realization of growing lack of faith in the mind of the people. The last stanza, that's why the poet invites his wife beloved, let us be true to one another. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, so various, so beautiful, so new, hath really neither joy, nor love, nor light, nor certitude, nor peace, nor help for pain. And we are here on a darkling plain, swept with confused alarms, with struggle and flight, where ignorant armies clash by night. See in what manner the poet invites his beloved to become true to each other, to become faithful to each other, to have the feelings of faith, love and certainty for each other. The poet finds the world seems to lie before us like a land of dreams. The future is like a land of dreams. It is various, it looks beautiful, it looks new, but at the same time, it is without joy, it is without love, without light, it is without respect for each other, it is without peace, it is without help or pain. See in what manner the poet imagines about the future, that it is without love, faith, and respect. And the poet is doubtful about the coming of the future. That's why he says that future looks beautiful, so various, so new, but at the same time, it is without joy, it is without love, light, and respect, peace for each other. That's, he says, he compares the modern world, that modern world is just like a darkling plain, the dark battlefield, there is a complete whole of the darkness, swept with confused alarms of the stagnant flight. The fighting person are swept by the confusion. They are not sure for each other. They are completely living a life of confusion. That's why they struggle and flight. Their ignorant armies clash by night, and the people are fighting with each other because there is darkness of doubt, and they clash, they fight. They do not know that who is the friend, that who is the enemy. That's why the ignorant armies clash by night. They fight in the darkness, in the situation of doubt. See in what manner the poet describes the condition of the coming future. The speaker suddenly addresses the companion as love, and he states desperately that the two of them need to treat each other with honesty and authenticity. See, he invites his beloved to become faithful, to live a life of honesty and authenticity. This is because the world, though it has dream-like quality of variety, beauty, newness, but actually does not happen. It does not offer joy, it does not offer love and clarity. Neither claim the speaker can it provide certainty, peace, or relief from pain. The speaker then compares their collective situation to standing on a flat, dark piece of land which is caught of the chaos of fighting, the situation of darkness led by doubts and confusions. Here, battle between unknowing groups continue under the cover of darkness, under the cover of confusion, and under the cover of doubtful situation. Now, in this manner, the poet invites his beloved to see the beauty of the nature, as and when he happens to hear the grating sound of the pebbles, he hears the sound of sadness, the sound of human misery. And he says at the same time he recalls the 5th century BC writer Sophocles, who started write tragedies because he heard the same note of sadness. And the poet says that the present world is without faith. The sea of faith of is empty. Earlier it was full. The faith was just like a belt. It was surrounded the earth. Now it is empty. People are naked. People are just like the naked singles, naked pebbles. They are without faith and love for each other. In the final stanza, the poet invites his beloved to become to become true to each other. And he said that the future is the future looks beautiful, the future looks new and full of variety, but at the same time, it is without love, it is joy and freshness, it is without certitude, without respect. That is why he also compares that the future is just like a dark battlefield. The people are fighting, they are led by confusion and doubt for each other. The poet says that there is a lack of faith, there is lack of certainty. There is also the loss of faith, and the poet wants to say that it is due to the loss of Christianity among the people. Now I come to the themes of the novel. There are certain themes of the novel: love and faith, certainty, nature, alienation, crisis of faith, diminishing standard of Christianity. First of all, we will discuss the theme of love and faith in the poem. Matthew Arnold Dover Beach admits to and laments the loss of religious faith that come were advanced in the various fields at the time. The poem senses the turn of a historical epoch and finds this change occurred in the transitional figure of the beach, the blurry border between the land and the sea. The poem thus asks the reader to consider what is lost in humankind's movement away from the detailable certainty of the Christian faith. And for the speaker, the loss of faith equates to the loss of certainty. The Dover Beach itself seems to embody this loss both in its sights and its sounds. The description of the sea and the sound of the pebbles on the beach are lyrically beautiful at first, but they mask the eternal knot of sadness. The sudden intrusion of sadness hints at the speaker's sense of loss, which finds fuller expression later in the poem. To the symbol of the sea, the beach's slow, repetitive movements symbolize the gradual but inevitable loss of faith that the speaker senses in this historical moment. Secondly, mapping the loss of religious faith onto the movement of the waves implies that this kind of historical changes come in cycle waves, in other words. The speaker imagines the ancient Greek playwright Sophocles, hearing the same sadness in the sea that the speaker hears now. The speaker sees an analogy between the irrelevance of the classical Greek gods in the speaker's time with the coming irrelevance of the Christian God in the near future. That does not mean that the religious faith will return, but more that something will come along to its place. The speaker's position on the loss of religious faith becomes clear in the third stanza. Faith once made the world full and bright, that is, which offer comfort and joy in its certainty and its loss, then represents melancholy. What is more, the sea of faith once touched the source of the entire world, but now it is withdrawing, it is empty. The poem is essentially saying the loss of faith is global. The speaker doubles down on the idea that scientific advancement represents a loss rather than a gain in the poem's final couplet, saying that the new era will halt confused alarms of stagnant flight and ignorant armies clashing by night. In other words, the speaker believes that the scientific advance will bring only scientific, not spiritual certainty, will lead to more doubt and questioning. The poem expresses a kind of resignation. The speaker fully admits that the change that is in process, it is inevitable as the waves rising and falling. Dover Beach questions the dominant values of its day and embodies the sense of grief that some felt at the prospect of the loss of religion. This questioning still stands up in the 21st century, calling its readers to examine whether their own lives are spiritually fulfilled. Now, the next theme of the poem is the theme of nature and alienation. Now, it is connected to the idea of loss of faith. Dover Beach questions humankind's relationship with nature instead of finding happiness or sublime in the natural environment as the romantic poets found. The speaker finds a deep sense of sorrow even while admitting to the beach beauty. He admits that there is beauty at the Dover Beach, but he also finds a sense of sorrow, eternal knot of sadness. The cold indifference and vast power of natural world make the speaker feel small and insignificant. The poem is therefore an attempt to capture the complexity of human experience as just one part of the natural world rather than it is center. The natural scene prompts the speaker to think about time skills that make their own life seem less significant. The speaker looks out on a scene that is, on the one hand, beautiful, but on the other hand, a powerful reminder of nature indifference to mankind, to humankind. The beach and the sea are by the far most prominent figure in the poem. The sense of deep time alienates the speaker from the natural scene that the speaker is observing, the speaker feels. The scene creates a feeling that the nature is almost antagonist towards the trials of humankind, as demonstrated by the harsh sound of the beach, which roars with the eternal note of sadness, and the pebbles move with the waves, they make the grating sound. The mention of the eternity here specifically links the idea of time to the speaker alienation without God to provide the certainty of eternal afterlife. The time scale evoked by nature seems almost mocking of humankind's limited place in the world. The speakers thought about the ancient Greek playwright Sophocles further emphasizes the tragedy that the speaker believes is occurring. The speaker imagines Sophocles hearing the same loneliness, the same note of sadness, sorrow in the sea as the speaker does in the poem. For the speaker, human life is fundamentally sad, and Sophocles, a writer of tragedy, must have heard the same sadness in the sea at that time, at the 5th century BC. But on the other hand, it also seems that the speaker is particularly mindful of the present time, of the present moment, the natural setting of the poem that makes the speaker question everything about the human existence, human experience, a state that was once made certain by the religious faith. There is a paradoxical nature about the beach. Ultimately, Dover Beach exposes the underlying melancholy of awe-inspiring natural sight. While the speaker does admit to the scene's beauty, that the beauty does not compensate for the way in which the scene makes the speaker feel small and insignificant. With the retreat of religion causing a crisis of spiritual faith, the speaker turns to love as an answer for the loss of a God. Perhaps the poem suggests love between people can compensate for the loss of connection between God and mankind. But the poem only argues that love has the possibility of creating the certainty that religion once did. It does not make the case that is inevitable. It is generally agreed that the Arnolds rode Dover Beach while on the honeymoon. Whether or not this is definitely true, the speaker is certainly not alone in the poem. The speaker's interaction within an off-stage love demonstrates the possibility restoration of a different kind of faith in love rather than in God. The lines 6 and 8 offer clear instruction to the speaker's companion to come and share the experience of looking out at Dover Beach. Given that the beach scene inspires melancholy in the speaker's attempt to share the experience is an argument of intimacy and honesty between people. Togetherness, the poem agrees, can help in any situation. The melancholy of the sea caused the loss of religion, almost swamped the speaker's psyche entirely, but out of this depth comes the final stanza, which is spoken directly to the speaker's lover. The two lovers can be true to one another, suggest the speaker that will in part provide solace and certainty in a world that offers neither of these. The poem ends on a literal cliffhanger with two lovers standing together. On the second time, the poem uses we, awaiting what will come. Love then may be the only answer to the problems identify the speaker, loneliness, loss of faith. But the poem does not end on the optimistic note, casting doubt on the idea that love will save the idea. Instead, the speaker anticipates confusion, struggle, or violence. Though the love might not be able to defeat these, the speaker represents that the only potential solution of the problem. Love then is definitely valued in the poem, and the reader in turn is asked to share that value. But love shows up in only few brief moments, leaving its meaning far from certain. The poem cannot stay for sure that love will be able to make life meaningful. Perhaps even suggests that it is ultimately cannot, but it is presented as the best option and worth trying. Thanks.